Thanks for joining us on the news tonight. We'll begin on a sad note as President of Okwama Community in Delta State dies in army detention at Bori Camp, Port Harcourt in Rivers State. The leaders and people of the Ewu Kingdom in Ughelli, south of the state, are appealing to President Bola Tinubu to intervene over the continuous detention of 6 natives of Okwama Community. In a statement, the leaders say the continuous incarceration of Professor Arthur Ekpeko, Belvis Adogo, Dennis Okubaye, Dennis Amalaka, and Owebo Mebel of Okwama Community for over 100 days is clear violation of the fundamental human rights. They say they are behind bars under alleged inhuman conditions with underlying health conditions before their arrest and detention. The leaders also reviewed attempts made to secure the release but yielded no result. They appealed to President Tinubu to call the Chief of Army Staff to take action towards the freedom of their natives. Senior reporter Ikena Amechi joins me live for more updates on this incident. Ikena, what more do we know about the situation that led to the death of one of those detained?
All right, Nifemi, it's a sad story, and of course, the story was confirmed by the son of James Ogoroko earlier today, and he said one of those in custody actually called and related the sad story of his father, and that's why the people, when that was done, the leaders of Ewu, where Okwama is under, actually met and came up with this statement and appealed to Mr. President. And what we know about this Mr. James, he was 72 years old, and as he said, he was having an underlying ailment, just like some others still in custody. And that's why the people are calling for their release and are appealing urgently to Mr. President that 100 days in detention is something that will actually strain someone of that age. And of course, the army on September 10 confirmed an invasion, or not an invasion, a operation in that community where these 6 people were actually taken and held in custody in the Bori camp until today, when we heard the sad story of the death of the president of Okwama Community. And of course, the army said that they are still looking for their weapon that were stolen on that March 14 attack that killed 17 military personnel. And of course, a lot has happened after then. The people are now in camp, but they are still going back to their community, their agrarian community, and they have to go back to their farms. And as of now, the government of Delta State has actually started work on rebuilding the community. It's still a lot to be done to actually relocate the people back to their place. So that is the situation right now in Ifemi.
Ikena, quickly, is there any correspondence yet from the Nigerian army as regards this incident?
Well, that is what we are waiting for, and asking that the army had to say something about the incident that has happened today. But right, for now, we have not heard anything because this operation is under the 6th Division and their headquarters is in Rivers State.
All right.
And all the correspondence we've gotten before now has been from the headquarters in Abuja. So we are hoping that with this, the military will actually respond to all these allegations and clear the air on this.
Senior reporter Ikena Amechi, thank you for the updates there. The Nigerian military says it's killed 8,034 terrorists, arrested 11,624, and rescued 6,376 hostages. Director of Media Operations, Defense Headquarters, Edward Puba, told newsmen during a briefing on the operations of the military from January to December 2024.
From January to December 2024, the Nigerian military says it was confronted by different threats in 5 active theaters across the country. The threat ranges from Boko Haram, ISWAP, armed militias, IPOB, ESN terror groups, and crude oil theft. The army says notable successes have been achieved which resulted in the killings of over 500 terrorist leaders and commanders, recovery of 8,216 weapons, and 211,495 ammunitions, as well as over 57 billion naira in oil theft prevented. The weapons are 4,053 AK-47 rifles, 1,123 local fabricated guns, 731 den guns, and 40 pop-action guns, among others. Others are over 50 million litres of stolen crude oil, over 9 million litres of illegally refined automotive gas oil, 90,595 litres of dual-purpose kerosene, and 156,095 litres of premium motor spirits.
The military is heightening its state of security a lot, as well as increasing its state of security readiness to ensure that the security situation as it is not escalated, and that there is no further aggression by the terrorists into our country.
The Nigerian military says it will continue to create conditions in which terrorists will no longer carry out terror or harm citizens. Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has issued a directive for the implementation of regular and continuous reorientation courses dedicated to enhancing administrative skills within personnel of the Nigeria Police Force. With a firm dedication to revitalizing the force and aligning it with contemporary global standards, the IGP emphasized the significance of ongoing training and skills development for police officers during the passing out parade of SPU personnel at the 5-day retraining program held at the Peacekeeping Hall, Abuja. The comprehensive training program encompassed essential topics such as the roles and principles of administration, the fundamental duties of administrators, among others. Chairman, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Ola Olukoyede says part of the Commission's mandate is to ensure recovery assets are not relooted. He said this at the town hall meeting held in commemoration of the 2024 International Anti-Corruption Day in Abuja.
The theme for this year's celebration is uniting the youth against corruption, shaping tomorrow's integrity. Corruption is associated with a range of negative outcomes on issues that matter greatly to young people, especially in the realm of education.
Somebody comes to my office and offers me a bribe. I say, even as small as 10,000 naira. I will first of all ask myself, where will I even keep this money? And I was telling him, I said, look, if I have $10,000 or naira in my house that is not mine, I will not be able to sleep. Just 10,000 naira. Comrade, I will not be able to sleep. And this was not attained in one day. It's just a matter of self-discipline. And I tell you, you can live a comfortable life without being corrupt. That's the truth. We must believe in yourself with self-discipline. Your life can be better for you without necessarily involving yourself in corrupt practices.
This town hall meeting is to engage the youth on the need to channel their energy and skills into positive actions that will help improve the country. The fight against corruption needs the involvement of the youth through sensitization and enlightenment, and also through education. This can be done through the introduction of anti-corruption courses in schools. Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
The Nigerian Senate has announced that legislative action on the proposed tax reform bills have not been suspended or withdrawn from the National Assembly. The leader of the Senate, while referencing reports on an earlier announcement made by the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Jibrin Barau, at Wednesday's plenary session, describes it as a misunderstanding of legislative process.
The Senate takes off the day's business with a point of order from the leader of the Senate on news reports insinuating that the Senate may have bowed to pressure from antagonists of the tax reform bills. At Tuesday's plenary, the Deputy President of the Senate, Jibrin Barau, had announced the constitution of an ad hoc committee to interface with the Attorney General of the Federation and a halt of all legislative action by its Finance Committee, pending the final resolutions from the meeting. However, the Senate insists that its actions were misunderstood and consideration of the bills were not halted.
Nowhere in our votes and proceedings was it stated that we suspended further deliberations on the tax reform bill, because we did not. And I felt it would be important to place on record, this Senate did not suspend and does not intend to suspend deliberations, consideration of the tax reform bills.
If there is any governor or any stakeholder in Nigeria, where no matter whether the person is a religious leader or a businessman that has problem with the bill, you know where to go to. Public hearing. The Senate will not be bullied.
The Senate directed its Committee on Finance to proceed with all necessary consultations on the bills, alongside a newly constituted ad hoc committee to engage with the Attorney General, and has a 6-week deadline to conclude and revert to the Senate for further legislative action. However, the Senate reshuffled composition of the ad hoc committee, exempting principal officers of the Senate.
Our decision to make the minority leader chairman was to show our transparency.
Are we disagreeing?
No, not at all.
We are saying that when we met in closed session,
yes,
we did not include principal officers. So there was no time that the Senate said that principal officers should be members of that committee. It would not have been headed by Senator Abamoro because of ranking and because of seniority.
What we agreed is that Abba Maro will be the chairman.
Yes.
And we have met also, the committee met on its own. So you're absolutely right.
The Nigerian Senate wants to make it clear that the tax reform bills are still very much on the table and a work in progress. They are also sending a very strong message that they won't be bullied or intimidated while doing their job in serving the best interest of Nigerians. TVC News, Abuja.